Hi, I just completed my first year as a graphic design major and wanted to do a recap on all my major projects. Starting off with the fall semester, I took design studies and visual methods and processes. We can start off with design studies as I only really have one project due to the class being mostly discussion based. For this assignment, we were prompted to make a zine using the statement, "Because I blank, I wonder how design can blank," based off of a personal experience. For this, I used my experience having an autoimmune disease and based the theme on a sea-themed hospital I went to. As for materials, I just used construction paper and pen. Now onto visual methods and processes. I love this class as it was project-based and was broken down into 3 main projects that really helped me become way more comfortable using Illustrator and working on deadline-based design projects. So let's start with my first project, the icon project. First, we started off creating a mood board on what our theme and color scheme would be. Then I started sketching the first 3 iterations of the orange, pear, and apple icons before deciding to go with the first row of designs and then sketching out the other 9 icons. Here on this page we have orange, pear, and apple, and on this page we have mango, blueberry, strawberry, grape, banana, durian, peach, pineapple, and lemon. Next, I put the sketches into Adobe Illustrator. I could only find the black and white sketch for the 3 iterations, so here they are. I'm really happy with how they turned out considering I really struggled trying to figure out Illustrator for the first time. After the outlines, I went to add color. This was an absolute mess. I had originally been stuck on using this color scheme as I really liked the obnoxious colors, only for me to find out I was using an RGB file instead of a CMYK file, which I should have been using. So then I tried out this pink, but I didn't like the printed color, so I ended up settling on this muted blue, as you can see printed on my wall. As my final submission, I submitted my icons to the Noun project, so if you want to use them, you can find them there. Project 2, the Bestiary book. To start, we had to sketch 50 animal combinations. I did a combination of insects and bugs and other animals. Here I started finalizing my animals. I found out after I had submitted that I was only supposed to finalize my favorite 3, but you're gonna watch me do all 50. Here you can see some more of them finished. We could have done this digitally, but I wanted to get off the computer after my last project, so for the materials I used construction paper, pen, and sticky notes. And here's the final book. Project 3, Social Injustice Shirt Design. For my topic, I chose to focus on intersectionality. This was our big final project, so it was broken down into 3 smaller projects. First was to create a t-shirt design and logo. Here are my rough logo and back design options. The original style inspo was from these posters, so I tried to keep that look. Then I put the sketches into Illustrator and I made the black and white versions. I used Instagram a lot throughout this project for feedback from my friends and classmates, which really helped me come up with the final design. After picking a general design, I moved on to color. I wanted bright colors that would match a beige base and came up with these 3 versions. After picking a front and back design, I went online and made some mock-up tees. Next up was creating the hang tags for the tee. Here are my 3 sketches, all incorporating the flower motif. Option 1 was my favorite, and it ended up changing the general style of the final slightly. After the tags, we made packaging for our tees. I really focused on trying to see what I could do in Illustrator for the packaging. Here were 4 sketches of possible packaging. However, like I mentioned earlier, I wanted to better incorporate the style of the tag back to the t-shirt design. So I decided on this magazine-shaped box using the style of a pop teen magazine. In Illustrator, I tried a lot of different fonts and textures and tried to layer things to make it chaotic but still somewhat cohesive. On the cover, I used intersectionality as the topic for this edition of the magazine, and then added the shirt design and logo on the back. After that, I printed, cut, and folded the packaging. It came out a bit small as I didn't know exactly what size I wanted, but it did fit a shirt inside. Spring 2025, I also took 2 major classes, Design Tech and Warp. I'll start off with Design Tech as it was more of a discussion-based class. Outside of discussions, we had group activities and explored low and high-tech materials. But the part I loved most about this class was the visual journal. We could write whatever we wanted, we just had to submit our journals weekly, and it was a lot of fun. So here's a quick flip through of mine. Finally, Warp. This was our workshop class where we got to explore our personal goals. It was an intense class, but I loved it and it really solidified my major choice for me. Like Design Tech, we also had a notebook for this class for daily entries for taking artist research notes, planning projects, and reviewing critiques. Project 1, a super cool guide to Warp. This project taught me a lot in terms of how I like to create things. Being given the space to spread out and make a mess really helped me. Here's some pics of my workspace throughout the project. I knew from the beginning I wanted to make a racing game manual like Mario Kart. However, my original design was going to be text heavy and work with a very limited color palette. After going through one of my professor reviews about the project, I was pushed to create something more fun and representative of me rather than make something I thought would get me the best grade. And so this was my final project and I'm so happy with it. You'll probably notice though that some of the beads are missing as they fell off when I took the project back. Project 2, Apples. This was a group project in which we chose to show the places of construction and deconstruction and use an apple to show this. For my slice, I was supposed to be on the fresher side, so I wanted something cute and sparkly. After my last project, I decided to go back to the seed beads, but instead of hot gluing them, I wanted to try embroidery for a cleaner look. But after 20 hours of beading, I hated it so much, I restarted. After giving up on beading, I went to use chunky yarn and big beads. The time constraint of restarting was so stressful, but I'm so glad I did it. It ended up fitting into the group so much better, and my embroidery was added onto another apple slice, so it didn't completely go to waste. Here's all our slices together. From the picture, you can see construction to deconstruction, but in the video, you'll see both. Project 3, the cutest crash out in history. This project was our final for Warp, and it was also turned into a class exhibition for us to show our projects after critique to friends and family. From the beginning, I knew I wanted to make a tag lantern as well as find out why cute is important to my work. Through this project, I found that I tend to use cuteness or cute characters to save and remember memories and people. Here's my label for a bit more context around the project. But to start off, here were my sketches for the tags and overall design. After sketching out the tags, I started making my plain white paper pulp with ripped up paper scraps and some of my sketchbook paper for a more even color. Then I added water and blended. Here's some paper pulp ASMR. Next, I started on the pink paper pulp. For the color, I used some pink fabric I found at the art thrift. This was really hard to blend, but I love the color it made. Then I started planning the size and amount of tags I needed, as well as how I wanted it to hang. The original was like this, but my final ended up with this birthday cake shape. The next day, I started making my paper using the pulp. This part I did on my patio, so please excuse the leaves. I also didn't have a bucket big enough for this, so I ended up using my drawer and lining it with bags, but it worked and with no damage to the drawer. Here I'm just mixing the pulp and trying to get it to float. I kind of guessed the whole process as I didn't want to watch a full YouTube tutorial, but in the end it all ended up working out. You can also see all the fabric that didn't get fully blended here, but I wasn't too upset about the texture. Then I squished out all the excess water before demolding it, and of course adding glitter. After letting the paper fully dry for a day or two, I cut them into different tag sizes. Ta-da! Then I started adding my sketches to the tag and then using beads, colored pencils, markers, glitter glue, and yarn to add color. Here they all are completed. After that, yarn was attached so they could hang from the embroidery hoops. It was a quick test, but I ended up changing the smaller hoop to the top, adding more beads and wrapping yarn around the hoops. For the second lantern, I did this box shape and then I used colored pencil and glitter glue. It was also where I came up with the name. It was the midway point of hanging next to the giant ladder I had to get up on, and here's it complete. And with that, my first year of projects is complete. After a year of being a little bit iffy about graphic design, I finished the year really excited to continue. Next fall, I will be taking Intro to Type, Ceramics, and Drawing, so hopefully I will have some more videos out on those. I hope this video was fun to watch and maybe a bit educational on what being a graphic design major is like, and I hope to make some more art student related content, so if there's anything specific y'all want to see, feel free to leave ideas or questions below. Bye bye!